How's it going, folks? Welcome to Qualms of the Curious. Are you curious about certain things? Maybe you think the men in black are following you down that alley. Or possibly you saw a UFO. Maybe you're best friends with the Illuminati and you don't know it. Or you could be worshiping a Tide Pod god. Who knows? Welcome to the show. My name, of course, is Antoine the Great, and I have been joined by my co-hosts Kadant from the Cunt Stream, an honorary proper villain, and Ishtar from CNN and Twitch.
Hi.
How's it going, ladies?
I have pizza and then I'm going to have ice cream. So I'm thinking it's turning out okay.
Mermaids are real.
Are you sure that you're not devouring a cryptid?
You know, I don't think cryptids are hiding in the Ben and Jerry's disguised as strawberry cheesecake.
Good point. So, do you guys know what a cryptid is?
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
Are
All
you
right.
going to tell us about cryptids?
I'm glad you asked. So,
I'm helpful like that.
let's talk about what cryptids are, since this is kind of what the episode's about. Well, more along, we're not talking about specific cryptids. That comes later. We're talking about cryptids themselves and what cryptozoology is, and why it's a fascinating subject. So, cryptozoologists may consider any figure from folklore to be a cryptid. From the Greek crypto, wow, that's spelled really weird in Greek, meaning hide, after the term cryptozoology and meaning a hidden animal. The Oxford English Dictionary defines the noun cryptid as an animal whose existence or survival to the present day is disputed or unsubstantiated, any animal of interest to a cryptozoologist. Some dictionaries and encyclopedias define the term cryptid as an animal whose existence is questionable. While there have been attempts to codify cryptozoology approaches, unlike biologists, zoologists, botanists, and any other academic disciplines, however, there are no accepted, uniform, or successful methods of pursuing cryptids. So, if all of that jargon didn't clue you into what a cryptid is, think of Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster. What is it? Is it Oingo Boingo or whatever? No, that's a band.
They could be, you know.
There is one. It's America has actually America has a couple lake monsters.
Yep.
I'm looking for the damn name. Ogopogo. That's the name of it. Ogopogo.
I was about to ask if that one was what you were trying to do.
Yes. So these are all very famous cryptids. But did you know that not all cryptids are mythical beasts? Did you know that, the megalodon is considered a cryptid?
Okay, isn't the megalodon supposed to be a dinosaur?
It is from the I think it's the Paleozoic era.
No, it's a movie. That's a movie. It's coming out soon.
We're talking about the actual shark.
Oh, my bad.
I believe it was the largest predator in the ocean during the Paleozoic era, but there are people who believe that the megalodon is still swimming around in the Marianas Trench.
It is. That's what the movie's about. The movie is about the existing megalodon that's in the trench.
Yes, I understand that. I read the book when it came out. I've been waiting for this movie. But something as simple as big predator cats in England is considered a cryptid because there are no big cats. They're in. And I'm talking about not the ones in zoos. I'm talking about, big beasts in England.
Well, what makes a cryptid a cryptid? Like, what makes it? What is the big differentiating factor?
It's in the definition. It's an animal whose existence is questionable.
So, I mean, it could be quite literally anything, like like a giant sloth, or a living mammoth.
Yes.
Okay.
Or go as fantastical as, mermaids.
Or I'm just saying, or Muslims who don't like blowing up people.
I no, that's not a cryptid because I've actually met a few Muslims that
I
don't like
know,
blowing up people.
I'm being a cunt, okay?
You're
I
good
get
at
that.
it, you whore.
Now,
Thank you.
what's funny about this is cryptozoology came first before the term cryptid. They created their own type of science. And there is a bit about cryptozoology.
In the chat, Zell goes, so a rational feminist.
Yes,
Aha.
that is a cryptid. That's a cryptid, yes.
That
Or
is
a
actually-
straight MGTOW.
Ooh, nice sing.
Bump. Okay, so cryptozoology is a pseudoscience that aims to prove the existence of entities from the folklore record, such as the Bigfoot or Chupacabra, as well as animals otherwise considered extinct, such as non-avian dinosaurs. Cryptozoologists referred to these entities as cryptids because it does not follow the scientific method. Cryptozoology is considered a pseudoscience by the academic world. It is neither a branch of zoology nor folklorists. Now, there's a bit of a history with cryptozoology.
Mm-hmm.
As a field, cryptozoology originates from the works of colleagues Bernard, weird last name, a Belgian zoologist. He's Belgian. Whoever Lemans. Fuck if I know.
Manny. We'll just call him Manny.
Well, his name is Bernie. It's Bernard.
Okay, well then call him Bernie.
A Belgian zoologist, and Ivan Sanderson, a Scottish zoologist. Notably, Bernie published On the Track of Unknown Animals in 1955, a landmark work among cryptozoologists that was followed by numerous other like works. Similarly, I can speak without doing the character. Sanderson published a series of books that assisted in developing hallmarks of cryptozoology, including the abominable snowman legend come to life. Here's the thing, and this I'm interjecting here really quickly. Cryptids have been around for centuries. Anybody who's heard of vampires are cryptids. Werewolves, they're anything in folklore that couldn't be explained. So all of the myths and legends from our torrid history are cryptids. The Hydra is a cryptid. I think that's pretty fucking cool. Other people don't think so. The term
Other people have
cryptozoology.
no imagination.
That's very true. The term cryptozoology dates from cryptozoologist circles from 1959 or before. Bernie attributes the coinage to the term cryptozoology, the study of hidden animals, to Sanderson. Patterned after cryptozoology, the term cryptid was coined in 1983 by cryptozoologist J.E. Wall in the summer issue of International Society of Cryptozoology's newsletter. There is a guys, if you want crazy, sign up for this newsletter. You'll get crazy. According to Wall, it has been suggested that new terms can be coined to replace sensational and often misleading terms like monster, because dinosaurs would be considered monsters in today's day and age. My suggestion is cryptid, meaning the living thing having the quality of being hidden or unknown. I already defined what the Oxford Dictionary said it was. While biologists regularly identify new species, cryptozoologists often focus on creatures from the folklore record. Most famously, these include the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, and Chupacabra, as well as other imposing beasts that could be labeled as monsters, like the Jersey Devil. In their hunt for these entities, cryptozoologists may employ devices such as motion-sensitive cameras, night vision equipment, and audio recording equipment. While there have been attempts to codify cryptozoological approaches. I already read that too. Some scholars have identified precursors to modern cryptozoology and certain medieval approaches to the folklore record, and the psychology behind the cryptozoology approach has been the subject of academic study. Here's something else that's interesting. We all know what internet culture is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Slenderman, The Rake, all of even Five Nights at Freddy's. We are creating our own cryptids because this is going to become folklore 2 generations past us. So there are going to be people looking. I mean, there are people looking for him now, but looking for Slenderman. There are going to be people believing that Chuck E. Cheese is actually hosting, live animatronics. We, as a society, have taken the internet and are going to create the new cryptids.
You know that game SCP, right?
Yes.
Basically a game entirely about cryptids.
Yes.
When you think about it.
So here, okay, this is the last little bit, and then we can talk about whatever you guys want. We're supposed to move on to the actual theories behind them. So, a subset of cryptozoology promotes the pseudoscience of young Earth creationism, rejecting conventional science in favor of a biblical interpretation and promoting concepts such as living dinosaurs. Science writer Sharon A. Hill observes that the young Earth creationist segment of cryptozoology is a well-funded and able to conduct expeditions with the goal of finding a living dinosaur that they think would invalidate evolution. Anthropologist.
Anthropologists.
Thank you. Jeb, I can say it normally. I don't know why I can't say it now.
Because you're not British right now.
That's true. Jeb J. Card says that creationists have embraced cryptozoology, and some cryptozoological expeditions are funded by and conducted by creationists in hoping to disprove evolution.
Interestingly enough, I was just looking up, and you don't really require a specific degree to become a cryptozoologist.
Nope, you just have to be a believer.
Mm-hmm. But the website that I've been looking at suggests that if you really want to be taken seriously, you should look into someone who's a cryptozoologist should be looking into degrees in zoology, biology,
anthropology, entomology,
and then cross it with any one of those or multiple of those different fields, and then add in things like chemistry. Not a full degree, but definitely a dash here and a little sprinkle of that, so that you got a much broader field of knowledge to work with. So, yeah.
So to be a serious cryptozoologist, you don't need an actual degree. Because there is no degree to be a cryptozoologist.
No, but you do need at least a modicum of understanding of biology, maybe the terrain.
And a giant forehead that over indulges your eyebrows.
Anyway, go on. What were you saying, Antoine?
You need at least a modicum of understanding of the sciences. You need to be, and even tracking for those who are like trying to find, chupacabras or the Jersey Devil or
wildlife
thousands
survival.
of other, so even hunting skills. But there is with cryptozoology, because it basically is the everyman science, you don't need a degree, you don't need anything special saying that you are one. You can just be Joe Schmo, go buy a cage and say you're hunting Bigfoot, and people will fund you because they think you're hunting Bigfoot. There are people all over the world that are trying to find these things that they think exist. And what happens is real scientists Now, I'm not taking away from anybody who is a cryptozoologist. Real scientists end up finding supposedly extinct species all the time. The biggest one, of course, was the megamouth shark. No, the coelacanth. The coelacanth was supposed to be a long extinct species of fish. And then, holy shit, a fisherman pulls one up in his net, still alive. Well, that's where these cryptozoologists go, you know what? Bigfoot could be real. We just haven't found him yet.
If this thing is truly alive, why can't something else be correct?
Exactly.
It's the
Why
what
not?
if question.
Well,
I mean,
it's the same thing as the giant squid. Believe
Mhm.
it or not, the giant squid was a cryptid for a very long time.
and inspired many bad movies.
Yeah, it was considered the kraken. You know, except of course the kraken is like 8 times the size of a giant squid. But the stories that we got from, you know, ancient sailors about the kraken and things like that were inspired by an actual cephalopod, and the giant squid was said to be a myth. And then not only did a fisherman catch one in its net, a dead one, there was one that washed up on shore, and then we actually have live video footage of other giant squid. So again, there are people out there who are going, see, these things can exist. These were supposed to be extinct. These were supposed to be a myth. This isn't supposed to be real. You know, there is a plesiosaur in Loch Ness. I've seen it. I'm not saying I've seen it, but you know, they're saying I've seen it, and they believe.
You know what it takes to be a cryptozoologist? I've decided I'm one now.
God damn it, Zell. But you're fairly accurate as to that being the case, right? Like that's all it really takes is to just be like, I'm a cryptozoologist, and then that's how people are like, okay, well then I guess we'll fund you if you're trying to capture or find these creatures, correct?
In
Yes.
in the day and era that we live in, people are a little bit more sophisticated than just being able to say, you know, hey, I'm one of these, give me money, because now you actually have to show passion and knowledge, and you have to have equipment that shows that you're actually serious about this. And for a lot of people, much like the ghost hunting, cryptozoology is one of those things where this is their hobby. This is what they do when they get out of the office. This is what they spend their weekends doing and researching. And they're not just tracking it through, you know, through modern means like Google Earth or a quick trip down Wikipedia. They are going back through folklore. They're looking at terrain and weather, and whether or not the areas that they're facing up, you know, that they're supposedly living in, are actually viable for the legends um, to be able to survive. You know, they believe very firmly in what they're doing.
Yeah. Now, okay. So you brought up ghost hunting.
Uh-huh.
People confuse ghosts and let's say spectral lights and things like that with cryptids. The difference is a cryptid has to be, you have to be searching for a living animal. So cryptids kind of, we talked about this earlier. Cryptids are kind of on that border of being paranormal and also practically normal because, like I said, the megalodon, which is a shark that did exist, is considered a cryptid because some people believe that there's one surrounding or swimming in the oceans now.
Mm-hmm.
The white lady, I can't remember the name of the inn, but the white lady that is in the inn in Maine, that is not a cryptid. It's a ghost, not a living being.
Yeah,
So,
if they come across a megalodon that's dead or fossilized, specifically fossilized, it's not a cryptid at that point.
hopefully
Foss-
fossilized.
Yeah, we can all hope. Otherwise, somebody's about to get their butts chomped. But it's really kind of an interesting what if question that will, in fact, ruin your night if you start thinking about it while you're taking the garbage out, particularly if you live in a more rural area.
Well, everybody. I mean, we have a list of cryptids, right?
Oh yeah, I've got it up in front of me. I'm just waiting to start going through some of this.
Well,
Go
okay.
ahead.
So, yeah, I mean that's what we're here. We're talking about cryptids. So everybody knows about the big ones.
Yep.
Let's bring up some ones that they don't.
Well, the website that I'm looking at has a long list. There's the Ajule, Adjule, in North Africa, which is a big canine, much like a wolf. But in Indonesia, they have the Ahul, which is a giant bat sort of thing. You have, in Georgia, the Altamaha, which is apparently either a sturgeon or a plesiosaur-style river animal.
A sturgeon.
Yes.
A big-ass fish.
That's what it says.
All right.
How about the Appalachian black panther, which is a melanistic cougar, but that one's got some territory roaming. It's been seen everywhere from West Virginia to Kentucky to Pennsylvania, New York, Alabama, Ohio, New England, North Carolina, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. It's got some range to it.
But that's what I was talking about. This is just a black panther. It's not native to America, right? Now it could have actually been a panther that escaped from the zoo, but it's considered a cryptid because it is alive. It is said to exist, but no one can prove that it exists.
Okay. Then how about the Ayanapa sea monster off of Cyprus, which was probably responsible for the drowning of Atlantis? It's speculated to be something like a crocodile or a sea serpent.
It must be a big-ass crocodile.
The picture that it has up looks more like it would be a hydra, but Greek. How about the beast of Dean in England, which is also known as a moose pig?
A moose
Like man,
pig?
bear, pig?
A boar-like mammal, but yeah, it's one of the names for it is moose pig, not booze pig. There's also the lion pig in Dartmoor National Park, England. But then again, Britain seems to have a problem with giant cat pig things.
They're snub-nosed cats. Is probably the way that it's Joey's TCAP channel says long pigs.
Okay.
Long pigs. Isn't that also the name for human meat? Long pig?
Captain Confederate just says that's Theresa May.
Who?
Let's see. There's
wait. You guys said Theresa May and who?
She's a
British politician.
Yeah, she's a British politician.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's the Dover Demon in Dover, Massachusetts, which is a bipedal, potentially extraterrestrial creature.
Ones with like the big heads.
Yeah. So Finns Chan in the chat says there's supposed to be a whole pride of Nemean lions in England somewhere.
I'm pretty sure that one would explain a lot.
No, because I mean, I can't say the Nemean lion was huge in Greek mythology. Huge. And
yeah, it was a gigantic creature.
So I honestly believe that there is no pack of Nemean lions roaming England. It would be nice because then we can just let them do what they do best and eat people. But I honestly don't think that it's a thing.
How do you know though? That's what the whole thing of cryptids is. How do you know that the Nemean lion,
If
is
if
it
it was
roaming around the world?
one, if it was one, okay, I would believe, not believe, but I could say it's a possibility. A whole pride, that's almost impossible to hide.
Almost impossible to hide, but not entirely impossible.
Because
And
I
that's the
can't
thing.
say 100% that it's possible to hide it. There's always a chance that it can be hidden. Yes, I know that's where your argument is that it's that little bit of possibility that they're able to hide.
Well, no, but that's the whole point of cryptids. That's what differentiates a cryptid from, say, that's what differentiated the giant squid from the regular squid, was the fact that it could hide, the fact that it had not yet been discovered, but there are stories about it, you know, and and that's what broke that line. That's what made it no longer a cryptid, was because its body had been picked up by a fisherman's net. It's dead carcass. And didn't that carcass also have like teeth in it too? Like it had like some marks, like it had been like being chewed upon or some
it
bullshit
had
like that.
it had marks that it had been in a fight.
Exactly.
Now
And then
the two
Okay.
known
Mm.
enemies of the giant squid are actually sperm whales
Mhm.
and great whites.
And megalodons.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here picturing this gigantic squid, and I'm going, I don't want to see the thing that killed it. But okay, if it's sperm whales and great whites, I can wrap my mind around that. I will not have nightmares of that. But anyone living in Enfield, Illinois should be cautious because apparently there is a monster with 3 legs, a short body, 2 short little arms with claws, gray skin, and big reddish eyes lurking around. It was reported in April 1973.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
we have three schmeckles in the chat, and that's just too many schmeckles.
what do you mean?
Oh, we're doomed.
He dropped out. His internet gave up, and he had to come back in. So there's the bot schmeckle. There's
Yeah,
the
there's
backup schmeckle,
there's too many schmeckles.
and the
There's
real
all
schmeckle.
Schmeckle's a cryptid. Schmeckle's a cryptid.
Joey's teeth. No, because I seen it. I seen it. It exists. It's just cloning itself, and now we're seeing it.
Thank you, James Jones. I really didn't need to know that. Did you know a sperm whale's fart is as big as a horse? The more you know.
The
Oh my
more you
goodness.
know.
That's disgusting.
That is awful.
How many schmeckles can schmeckle schmeck if a schmeckle could schmeck schmeckle?
2. The answer is 2.
I'm glad you are very firm on this. You know what I'm noticing as I'm scooting down this this list is I'm not seeing any cryptids listed in Denmark.
That's because we know lo-fi exists.
This is true. She is no longer a legend. She is confirmed.
Yes. Well, that'll be the thing that one has to wonder is, will cryptids, like, what if, I'm just saying, if all cryptids are discovered or say proven or disproven to exist, does that mean we would no longer have cryptids? Or will people just keep making up more and more shit?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. So say tomorrow all of these cryptids that are on the list that Ishtar has been reading get proven to be false. We're creating our own cryptids now. Think of all the myths that we have forgotten from ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient feudal Japan and China. Even Israel has their own. The vampire myth wasn't just medieval England. The vampire myth was all over the world. There's different types of folklore from South Africa to Australia to normal Africa, all over the place.
And let me toss this thought, since you're talking about vampires being across the world. when you think of a vampire, what is the primary description that comes to people's minds? Big eyes, pale skin, lots of sharp teeth. What do you think was around at one point that would inspire such things? What kind
White
of
people.
creature would have what kind of creature could have impressed so deeply on not just an individual psyche, but the human psyche as a whole, that this is across the world?
That's the thing, though. Not all of the vampire folklore has them being pale skin. The commonality of all the vampires is that they feed off of humans. But the vampire that's in the folklore from Africa is completely different from the folklore that we had in England. South America, it's completely different from North America. Russia has vampires as well. It's
Thorn in
it's
chat was saying Strigoi, and she.
so and
Bless you.
who brought it up? Confederate Captain Confederate. Vampire folklore was around long before the classified disease. So it's not necessarily that vampirism was based off of the vampire. The vampire folklore was not based off of the disease. It was based off of stories. And most folklore was made to keep people in line. My
Like
favorite
fairy
subject.
tales.
Yeah, my favorite subject. My favorite subject plus vampire-ish type thing, the succubus. The succubus was a legend that was created to keep married men in check. It wasn't just because, hey, we want to have the sexy female vampire feed off of our sexual essence. It was, there is a chance that you're going to run into a woman who's going to kill you by sucking your essence through your penis. And at that point, all men in that area went looking for this specific woman.
All right.
They all wanted blowjobs.
Yes, but all right. No, listen. The whole just because documented porphyria was later than the vampire lore, doesn't mean that that's not exactly what caused the vampire lore. I know some people to this day who's, they need the extra blood. They need the extra iron. And so like they have a thing when it comes to blood because they have to, because they're fucking pale as fuck, and they become sickly if they don't have enough.
Oh, I just found one cryptid that is near Denmark. It's in Germany, and it is the Wolpertinger, which is said to inhabit the alpine forests of Bavaria in Germany. They are characterized as being mischievous, and the picture is actually kind of cute. It's a rabbit with fangs, antlers, and wings.
So it's almost like the jackalope.
Yes,
Give
which
it
is
fangs
another
and
cryptid.
wings.
Yeah, the jackalope. That's an American cryptid.
But well, no, Denmark would fae, with the fae, like elves and fae and shit like that, because Thorn was mentioning earlier that that those are cryptids that have been discussed before that live in like Denmark and Sweden and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's those. It's just probably not listed, but they count as cryptids, yes?
Yeah.
Technically, yeah.
Elves and dwarves and orcs and all of that. All of the stuff from ancient legend could be considered cryptids. Now, I may be overstepping with the orcs. I think that specifically started with D&D. I don't know. I haven't looked that far into D&D or any of the history behind it, but there are...
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was going to say, besides, that's been confirmed. We have a Brachus.
Yeah.
True.
Thorn is saying there are legit people in those countries that hunt for them like people hunt for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And that's...
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, Brachus is not a cryptid because cryptids are only creatures that have yet to be found. but
That-
there seems to be some form of evidence or stories or lore to their existence. They've just yet to be actually found.
But we went way off topic from what I was saying. Basically,
Sorry.
it's fine. The question you asked is if we disproved all of these things tomorrow, would we still have cryptids? Of course we would. Like I said, Slenderman is a cryptid. The Rake is a cryptid. You know,
Slenderman exists.
Jeff the Killer is a cryptid. You know, all of these. Ben Drown is technically a cryptid. You know, all of these things are what people are actually. Well, no, Ben Drown is like video games, so technically not a cryptid. Maybe a cursed item, I guess.
More cursed item than cryptid because you can't encounter him without triggering the video game correctly.
Yeah.
What's Ben Drown?
It's a creepypasta based on Legend of Zelda. We'll tell you about it later.
Okay, because I've heard of Slenderman, I've heard of Jeff the Killer, I've not heard of Ben Drown, so that's Slenderman. Okay, going into my whole section of this, because I'm just letting you all know, like, I would not be surprised. What was the name of? There's this creature that is talked about, I believe, in Hindu lore that takes the shape of like a thing that people fear, or stories that people talk about, and that's how they come into being or whatever. And Slenderman, I think, is one of those things that actually, you know,
The
probably
Japanese
came.
have. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
The Japanese have a similar kind of creature.
I do want to point out, Thorn, ghosts are not cryptids. They are not even cryptid-like. Cryptids are based off of living beings, living creatures. So a ghost is not cryptid-like. Now, the hunt for ghosts is cryptid-like, but not the beings, the spiritual essence themselves, I guess you would say.
Cryptids are classified as actual living beings. Ghosts are not living. When it comes to the Slenderman thing, the way that I got to learn about
Really, Speckle?
Slenderman.
Fucking really? You have Nightbot saying praise be to Sniggles, rinse and repeat? God damn it, man.
You just noticed?
Yes.
All hail Sniggles, Lord and Savior.
Rinse and repeat.
There are actually 10 to 16 different classifications for cryptids. Did you know that?
Is it all the different types of species?
No. It's like one is distribution anomalies, which is animals reported outside their normal range, like the Black Panther. Undescribed, unusual, or outsized variations of known species, like giant anacondas or spotted lions.
Now, I have a real quick question. Can we really consider the Black Panther a cryptid? I mean, they made a movie about him and everything.
Technically, no one has scientifically dissected and proven him and classified him, so yes?
But Wakanda is real, yo.
It's real in our hearts. Another
Cinder Shadow. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say Cinder Shadow is asking, are cryptids part of the spectium?
What?
The spectium.
What? What the hell is the spectium?
It may be a mistype, and he may have been trying to say the spectrum. I'm uncertain.
Here's another new cryptid. Is Thorn just brought up the alligators in the New York City sewers?
Yep.
Everybody's heard the jokes about alligators in the New York City sewers, and technically, rodents of unusual size are cryptids because there are stories about everybody's heard the joke about the New York rat, where you could actually put a saddle on it and ride it away. That's a cryptid.
Oh, so the ROUS?
Yeah.
Yep. And it would be classified as an undescribed, unusual, or outside variation of an unknown species, where the alligators would be distribution anomalies. But then again, you also have things like survivals of recently extinct species, like the ivory-billed woodpecker and the Tasmanian tiger. The survivals of species known only from fossils, like the Mokolele mbembe, of Central Africa, which is basically
Say that name again, baby.
Mokolele
can't.
Mbembe.
I can't say it again.
You
The
just
Mokolele
culturally
Mbembe.
appropriated a whole continent. How do you feel?
Pretty freaking good.
Thorn is saying rat kings have been proven real.
Yes, they
It
have,
is a
but
group of rats that have gotten their tails tied together. Modern Museum has a dried out one.
That would be more along the lines of just a fluke, I would almost say.
it happens because of a feeding frenzy.
Yeah, it's not something that's naturally occurring, as in they're not born like this.
Ray Stone in the chat said it sounds like you're trying to summon King Kong.
Well, if we see
Which technically would be considered a cryptid. Giant apes are a commonality in a lot of these cryptids.
Yep.
Hellhounds are also cryptids, according to Pastel Husky.
Yep. There are lingerlings, which are survivals of species known from fossil record, much later into historical times than currently thought, like the woolly mammoth. Animals not known from the fossil record, but known species, like the Andean wolf or the striped manta ray. Animals not known nor related to any species, like the Bigfoot or sea serpents. There are mythical animals like with a zoological basis, the griffin, hellhounds, unicorns. Seemingly paranormal or mermen, though nope, not gonna say it.
Merman totally exists. I'm just saying.
So you're saying he has a tail? I mean a fish tail.
I've seen the picture. He had a tail.
Nice.
There were no legs. Seemingly paranormal or supernatural entities with some animal-like characteristics, like the Mothman or fairies. Known hoaxes or misidentifications, like the jackalope or an antlered rabbit. But there's also 6 more in addition to those 10, which are exclusions from being classified as a cryptid.
God damn it, Zell.
Oh,
What the
Zell.
fuck is the sheep squatch?
I have no idea. I think he just kind of made it up.
But
there are 6 things. There are 6 things that declassify something from being a cryptid. Insignificant. Cryptids must be big, weird, dangerous, or significant to humans in some way. A lack of controversy. Someone has to see these things and somebody else has to argue it. Erratics. Things that just turn up in an odd spot, like the alligator that actually did, and I was living there at the time, an alligator was found in the surf of Southport, North Carolina, well up from Florida. The tide pulled it up there. So, plus, yeah. Bizarre humans like zombies or vampires, so they're not cryptids according to this. Angels or demons, the paranormal or supernatural is only admitted if it has an animal shape, like a werewolf. And aliens, unless such extraterrestrials arrived a long time ago and are thus residents. They have their green cards.
Well, okay.
I would hate to be the one that has to go check to see if they're legal.
I know, that would be a really complicated conversation. Excuse me, Mr. Gray, do you have your green card handy? This is America. Speak English.
Racist.
Why, yes, my fellow human. Here is a card, and it is green.
Reptilians are considered cryptids.
They are, because they have an animalistic cast to them.
But they're also considered aliens.
Which is a weird cross-classification. I mean, I suppose you could consider them aliens as in they are not, as in the technical term of alien, which is something that is not from a specific area. It's like you not being born and raised in Washington, technically you're an alien to the state of Washington, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. All right. Hold on. Kadan, you may actually enjoy this. Raystone says, "Oh my god, a porn parody. 50 Shade of Grey's alien abduction with BDSM."
I'd watch it.
Okay. I am just saying. I have seen, and it was a woman in an ET costume.
No, I've seen that. That's oh god, no, no, no.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah.
Yes, dryads would be considered cryptids.
I don't know. I think that would be closer to the bizarre humans exception because they're part plant. They're not part animal.
Yeah, but they're also part human.
Yeah, so they would fall under the bizarre humans like zombies or vampires.
Thorn Midnight says she saw gay porn titled that.
Okay then.
Raystone, the safe word is. Sorry, how do you say that?
After hat dollar at
Exclamation point.
Yes. Finn's Chan says they don't have animal shapes.
Harpies,
Pastel.
however, definitely would be because they are half bird, half human.
So as long as it's some animal form, so like werewolves would be considered cryptids.
That's correct.
Dire wolves, of course, the Nemean lions, of course, hydras, the world-eating serpent. Like, yeah, okay, alrighty.
It's like
you don't say it. You have to use your psychic projection because of ball gags.
oh, okay, that makes sense. Like the Bee-Man, which in Missouri folklore, it is an entity named after the town of Beeman. Legends about the monster vary. Some describe the creature as the spawn of a 12-pound gorilla said to have escaped from a circus train, whereas others describe the monster as shaped like a wolf or a coyote. Basically, it's an ape or a hominid, probably one of Schmeckel's relatives that decided to come south. But there's also the Beast of Bray Road, which is basically the Wisconsin Wolfman. That was seen in 1936.
So my question is the Mothman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was actually created by a writer, so people thought it was real enough to go search for it. Why?
There are the webpage here says that it was popularized by an author, John A. Keel, but the Mothman itself was apparently seen anywhere from 1966 to 1967. And it was later written about and popularized in the books, one by Gray Barker in 1970 and the other one by John Keel in 1975. So that actually predated the books.
Captain Confederate is saying here's the real question. If cryptids are any kind of real, why don't we know? And who is suppressing that knowledge? Now, here's the thing. There's plenty of theories going around that, like, things such as mer people. We'll just start with mer people. There have been things where just mermen. Anyway, but there's things saying that, they have been discovered and found, and when the scientists went to go and take the body or whatever, some government agencies or some bullshit like that had come and taken it from them, as well as the recordings, claiming they're going to help and blah, blah, blah. And then all that evidence has disappeared. It could just be like government conspiracies, blah, 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 blah. But the whole thing about cryptids, the main thing that people always forget about when discussing cryptids is it's as simple as these are creatures that can hide. These are hidden creatures, that there's some form of story. There's no real discerning evidence, and it's not like they're out in the open in our face all the time. If none of us ever saw a wolf, or a dog or any canine, if none of us ever saw any canine, we would never know that they existed, but we would hear them yip and howl and all and bark, and we wouldn't know. We just had these stories of the yipping and the howling and the barking.
And we'd have to come up with something that could have possibly been what is making that noise.
Mm-hmm. And who's to say that, like, what if there's one person who left some food out and they saw a dog for the first time, like, and it yiffed, and it wagged its tail happily, and boom, that's how that story started to go around. Like, I actually saw what makes that noise. I actually heard a dog bark. I saw a dog bark, and then it ate my food and ran off and went and hid. And that's the thing about cryptids, is it's as simple as so the Slender Man thing. As for seeing Slender Man visibly, the way I got to even discover anything about Slender Man, I got to hear about this later in my years. Like, but I remember distinctly when I was younger, I had this dream, and I wound up telling my friends about it, when I gotten older, because one of my friends was talking about a dream they had. And we both described Slender Man in our fucking dream. Both of us had described Slender Man in our goddamn dream. And then all of a sudden, internet explodes, and there's all these people sharing this exact same story of this man, this pale, bald man in what looks like a black suit. And and he's tall and he's lanky, and that's what we remember about. And he was given the name Slender Man. And I'd had this goddamn dream before this had existed, before internet was like as big of a thing. And once internet became a thing, all of these other people that had had a similar experience to mine, if not even a more detailed experience, and beyond just even a dream, all of them fucking coincide with what I remembered and what I talked about and what I had seen. And I'm not going to say, oh, I'm the first one who ever had such a thing happen to me, because that's ridiculous. I know I'm not the first one to have ever seen Slender Man in my dream. And before everybody was talking about him as an existing thing.
Well,
I'm saying, and I know that my friend, and because we wound up telling a separate friend at separate times, and that's how we got to talk about, holy shit, you saw the exact same thing in your dream as I had seen in mine. Like, that's fucking crazy. What does this mean? Like, what is this all? And of course, being like, I was 14 or 15 when I was talking with this other friend about it. As we're talking about this and we're trying to figure it out, and the internet was like really starting to like pick up as kind of a thing, even though both of us were too broke to know like all the stuff that was truly happening on the internet at that time. But like, it was a very engaging moment for us. And I can't say, I'm not going to say, oh, Slender Man's not real, because that discounts, that degrades my personal experience.
Yes, but that was a dream.
It was a dream.
There is something that could be explained if you believe in dream interpretation and dream theory. I'm not going to get into that because that could be saved for another episode. But everybody has dreamed of someone in a black suit and who is faceless. People who take place in your dreams that you don't have a conscious memory to fit the personality your dream is giving it will put them as a faceless person. It's so you can still have the interaction with that person in your dream for whatever reason that person is there without having to give detail to it. Everybody has done it. Now Slender Man was based off of the Tall Men, which have been around for a while, and Thorne is the one that pointed that one out. The Tall Men have been around for a very long time, and Captain Confederate talked about skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are also, I don't know if I'd consider skinwalkers cryptids. Would they meet the classification?
My understanding of skinwalkers is basically they're shapeshifters. So I think they would go more under bizarre humans.
So not a cryptid.
Not a cryptid. And I actually am questioning whether or not Slenderman himself would be considered a cryptid because he does not have an animal shape.
He's got he's considered, well, I guess you can consider him a shadow demon or something.
I mean, demons are not considered to be cryptids either under cryptozoology. He's one of those ones that could probably be argued one way or another because he is big and dangerous and affects humans in some direct way. But at the same time, he lacks the animal or zoological requirements to fit. So you could argue it one way or another. I would say he's probably just in general paranormal.
Okay, Thorn, it doesn't matter that we know where Slenderman's story came from. We're going to probably do an episode on Bigfoot. We can't do it next week because of what I'm about to say. But the person who designed the Bigfoot suit on his deathbed not only gave up the suit, the actual footage of him putting the suit on and everything else, the place that how they filmed it, everything, gave negatives, gave all the evidence to say, hey, it's fake. And people are still hunting Bigfoot.
So why can't we do it next week?
Because I don't want to do it next week.
Okay, that's a perfectly good reason.
It's time for Kadunt to pick something for next week.
We can talk about it after stream. So, Kadunt, be ready for us to put you on the spot. I'm going to grill you.
Okay. Should I choose something I don't believe in or choose something I do believe in?
Well,
that is up to you.
yeah,
But I
that's up to
just
you.
came across something on the list that made me go, well, this could argue a little bit more towards the Slenderman being a cryptid. It's the Gnome of Girona in Girona, Spain. The Gnomo de Girona is the name given to the remains of an animal or fetus found near Girona, Catalonia in Spain in September 1989 that aroused some attention from the Spanish media, especially some of the TV programs specialized in the sentence cut off. I'm guessing more fantastic things.
So,
but it is classified as a small humanoid or a goblin.
well, okay, so Kadunt, you are our resident believer, correct?
Yeah.
Aside from mer people, what cryptids do you believe in? What cryptids do you believe are out there? And don't say all of them. I'm talking what ones do you believe, like that you think are out there? Do you actually believe that there's a megalodon swimming around the Marianas Trench?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Why?
Because the Marianas Trench is fucking huge. I wouldn't be surprised. Just same thing with mer people, and I'm dead serious about this shit too. Like, I know, I'm very aware I am fucking crazy, and I'm retarded, and I'm stupid. No. I'm very aware of all this shit. I'm incredibly aware of all this shit. But the main things that I truly do believe, like, fuck yeah. Why should I doubt that? Is anything that's, ocean dwelling or water dwelling, because we only know so much and we only can go so far into our oceans at the moment. Mind you, we are working on building up on that and being like the anglerfish. For the longest time was actually just kind of a cryptid because we couldn't get deep enough down there to truly discover it and figure it out. And then we were able to. And
there are different species of anglerfish. The deep sea anglerfish we didn't know existed until someone sent a submersible down to, an electronic submersible down to the bottom. We have been to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Humans have not been to the bottom, but we have, as being able to view it. And they found a whole fucking slew of new life forms down there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's only the ones that couldn't hide immediately.
Yeah, because they had never seen light before.
Yeah, exactly. And that actually did, fuck with them a little bit too, because like light it affects them negatively because their bodies aren't used to it.
It killed a couple things.
Yeah.
Okay, so I understand why you would say that, because it's true. We know more about outer space than we do our own oceans. And that's because we haven't designed things that allow us to go. And apparently, just recently, I don't remember what it's called, but we found a trench deeper than the Marianas Trench.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember where it's not. I can't remember where I heard it, but you know what? I'm going to look it up. You guys talk.
Well, as Thorne is saying, she can see Megalodon still being around. We once thought giant squid was a legend, and they have proven real.
As we said earlier.
Yes.
So, yeah, it is entirely possible that there could be a smaller version of the prehistoric megalodon, something that may have adapted with the shrinking of its natural habitat, changes in atmosphere, or food supply, most likely. So, my husband is laughing at me for some strange reason. Hold on. That is so funny.
There is something of a smaller megalodon called a great white shark.
KG says that something smaller than a regular megalodon is called a great white shark.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's the same genus.
But I'm talking about something that's bigger than the great white shark.
Living in the deep, dark depths of the ocean, which we have yet to be able to fully explore.
Yes.
And like I said, I know I'm stupid, and I know I'm dumb, and I know I'm retarded, and I know I believe in some really crazy, outlandish shit.
You are not stupid or
I'm one of those,
or
I'm one of those people who, like, fuck you. You go ahead and if you go ahead and just show me, like, hey, this is why you're being kind of stupid and dumb for believing in this outlandish shit, because we have proof otherwise. We've explored every inch of our ocean. Then I'll be like, okay, I understand. No worries. Then again, I still believe in some really stupid, dumb, crazy, outlandish shit. Because I believe that a lot of things cannot be disproven.
Okay, so I found it's still part of the Marianas Trench. It's called Challenger Deep. It is the deepest known point in the Earth's seabed hydrosphere, with a depth of 10,898 to 10,916 meters by direct measurement from submersibles. So that would be 35,755 to 35,814 feet. It's deep.
Yeah. That's terrifyingly deep.
So I do understand why people think that certain sea creatures could possibly exist, because we have found ones that we thought were extinct. We know less about our oceans than we do the universe around us, because we stopped looking down and started looking up. Oh God, I'm going against my nature for this. I believe the megalodon is real. I don't mean extinct real. I mean, I believe that we don't know enough, and the water is warm enough at the bottom of the trench because there are volcanic vents down there. It's not cold down there. It's cold as fuck getting down there, but once you reach the bottom, there are volcanic vents that are warming up the water. I think that if just by chance a megalodon happened to be down there when it started to get cold up above, probably decided to stay down there. There's enough food. The deep sea anglerfish is huge. it has a lengthy area to feed in. And because it's warm, it actually doesn't have to eat as much as a normal great white does.
I
Thorn?
believe in the Loch Ness monster.
Again, I say why.
Because Lake Ness is fucking ginormous.
It's
And
been trolled. And I mean not trolled as in internet trolled. I mean trolled as in what that term actually means. It's been gone through with a fine-tooth comb with submersibles and everything.
yeah, and there's little cave systems and shit like that they've found under there.
Little cave systems, not
Well,
big enough to house a plesiosaur.
I'm not saying that the Loch Ness monster is a plesiosaur.
That's the going theory. That's the picture that was taken, and that's the idea from the people behind the actual picture. Again, deathbed confession. The Loch Ness monster. They gave the design, the original negatives of the picture that was taken. They did the how they did it with the measurements and how big the thing actually was. It was no bigger than 2 foot long. It was just the way that they took the picture. They gave everything. Bigfoot and Loch Ness have been debunked, and yet people still look for them.
The rake?
The rake is an SCP. It's a
It's
being
a
out in the.
creepypasta.
It's a creepypasta. It's a being out in the forest, and it makes a weird noise. It would be considered one of the new cryptids.
Oh. Like the what's his face? Well, no. He wouldn't be Jake the Killer wouldn't be considered a cryptid, right?
Technically, you could argue that, but I would say he's more along the lines of vampires and does not quite fit the definition.
Yeah. I don't
He
think
is part of the
vampire.
new folklore.
Yeah, he's part of the new lore. Okay. Because there's lots of different lores around, like that, and if anything, maybe we can go into the new lores for next week's episode.
Ooh, going into creepypastas and SCPs?
Yes,
That would be cool.
especially because you guys get to learn me some stuff about the newer stuff. Like I don't know all of them. I know like the big ones, or two. I know of Jake the Killer, and of Slenderman.
And we've told you
Those
about the rake, so you know about that one. And
yes.
we've told you about
We mentioned Ben Drowned.
Ben Drowned, which is another creepypasta.
Yeah. Now here's a good question for cryptids. Is Ilkukui on there?
Spell that.
Uh
I dare you.
Cucuy. Ilkukui.
El Kukui.
Yes.
The Chupacabra's on here, but not the El Kukui.
He's basically the Hispanic boogeyman.
Well,
Are you talking like someone like Baba Yaga?
Kind of. Baba Yaga is female though.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga is not on here.
Yeah, Baba Yaga. They're not cryptids because they're what, human?
They're human.
Yeah. The boogeyman is either always considered like a spiritual being or a human that has mystical powers.
Yeah.
That powers over your dream.
Captain Confederate is talking about a cryptid from Irish myths called dogheads. They're described as kind of humanoid but with canine aspects.
Werewolves.
Oh, no. Those are the dog soldiers.
Yeah.
The dog soldiers?
Yes. They were humanoid. Think of like Egyptian gods, like with the dog heads.
Yeah.
Like Anubis or Wapoet.
Stuff
Okay.
like that. They were said to, if I remember correctly, they were a group of you always saw them when you were by yourself, and most of the time they were around war. They were like war dogs. They would, what was it? They would corner people that were outside of their group, and they would hunt them down. And the soldiers that survived the hunt said that they could hear barking and baying, and sometimes they've even described like hyena laughs. But yeah, they would squadron. That's what I was fucking, or not squadron, whatever the military aspect of a grouping is.
Unit.
Thank you. Such an easy word that I couldn't think of. But
You
yeah,
couldn't think of you couldn't think of the unit.
well, it's because I'm not. That's because I'm not thinking about tumors. So but yeah, the Dogmen. They actually made a movie about it. It was a bad one, but they made a movie about it.
Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
Pastel, hold on.
Oh yeah.
The Kukui
He's-
is a mythical ghost monster equivalent to the boogeyman found in many Hispanic and Lusophone countries. He can also be considered a Hispanic version of a bugbear, as it is a commonly used figure of speech representing an irrational or exaggerated fear. The Koko is a male being, while the Koka is a female version of the same mythical monster, although it is not possible to distinguish one from the other, as both are the representation of the same being.
Okay, you said there was a classification of cryptid that you couldn't use plants, right?
Plants are not zoological.
So the man-eating trees that are on my list of cryptids would be false.
That would be correct.
It's the cryptid is the man-eating trees of Madagascar. So their other names are Madagascar tree, Nubian tree, Yativo, and vampire vine. They are a carnivorous tree, and they are located in Africa and Central America.
Wait, here's a good question for you. Because cryptozoology is it specifically targets the animal aspects of cryptids. What if, why wouldn't the plant-based cryptids, why couldn't those be considered cryptids just because they're just not part of the cryptozoology family,
Well, that's what
That is an argument.
Thorne brought up the whole thing about ghosts and how ghosts are cryptid-like. It's not cryptozoology because that's what it is. Cryptozoology it's zoology, so that's based on animals. It would be something else.
I'm looking now to see if there's an actual
Cryptobotany, I guess. I don't know. Cryptobotany. There it is. There, I coined a term.
No, actually, there is an actual thing. I'm pulling it up now. Cryptobotany is a pseudoscience involving the study of various exotic plants which are not believed to exist by the scientific community, but which exist in folklore, literature, or unsubstantiated reports.
So there are plant cryptids.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that could be a topic for another show.
I'm not finding much on it though, so it may just be that one mention.
Canuck says, got me a copy of the Monster Manual.
Andy? Yeah.
But, and then Thorne brings up a good point. It's a really interesting example of how stories spread in the ancient world. And it was. I mean, that's where all these cryptids did come from. It was primitive humans compared to us explaining away things that they couldn't explain, which is also why we have, the theories about like the pantheon of the gods, Egypt, the Egyptian pantheon where there are thousands of different gods, and the Greek pantheon where every god controlled a certain aspect of modern life. All of this
It was
stuff.
people trying to explain things they didn't understand.
Yeah. There's a good example of how that could come about. Do you guys remember a movie called Toy Soldiers?
Yes, I
Okay.
vaguely remember watching it.
Thank you, Allie. So there is a scene in Toy Soldiers where one of the toys is trying to be is try he sees the trees moving and thinks it's the soldiers. They're the aliens, they're the good guys, and the soldiers, he thinks that soldiers are in the trees because he sees the leaves moving. And the main character says that's not the soldiers, it's the wind. And he goes, and the toy goes, "What's the wind?" And we'll try and explain that to someone who's never experienced wind before.
It's like trying to explain the color blue to somebody who's colorblind.
Yeah. It's so you have they that's how some of these things came about. And it's really interesting. And I want, I'm really skeptical about a lot of things. There are certain things that I really want to believe that these things are real. But the rational part of my brain is telling me, there's way too much evidence that they're not. So at certain points, I envy you, Kadan.
Don't listen. Don't ever envy me. All right, because I'm the kind of person who believes like magic exists. Like I don't know. Like I'm I'm in this constant state of belief and disbelief, and you know realism and surrealism, and like it's it's
I kind of have to envy you because you're getting laid more than I am at this point. So
says who? I never said anything about getting laid.
Uh-huh.
I've
Anyway,
never said a single word about getting laid. Never said any of it.
should I pull up DMs and dispute this?
I never said anything about getting laid.
that's right. You didn't lay down. You were, up all night. It's fine.
Anyway, no, I never said a single word about getting laid.
What?
No, but it's I believe in a lot of things.
Zell ratted you out.
I really do. No, he's confirming that I never said, God damn it, Zell.
Done. Getting that D confirmed.
He's a liar.
I think what we're envying of you is how you can be so open to it and not as cynical about it or as disbelieving as your average person can be. We all
Fully believe that we live in a world that could only exist in movies. To me, you want to believe that magic exists. You want to believe that mer people exist. You do believe that. I envy that because I can't honestly believe in that stuff. So when
don't get me wrong. Hold on. Don't get me wrong. I don't believe that the kind of magic that you see happening in movies exists. I believe that it we're not going to go into all the shit that I believe because I already know I'm crazy enough, and I don't need to, and you guys already know I'm crazy enough. You guys don't need to hear the full extent of my crazy. But I do believe that there is magic. I believe in ghosts. I believe in spirits. I believe in this shit.
There's nothing wrong with believing in that stuff. Like I don't want you to think I'm
there's
putting you
nothing
down
wrong.
or something like that.
No, I know there's nothing wrong with me saying something that's really entertaining and fun to make fun of. I know there's nothing wrong with that.
We're not making fun of it.
Real quick.
No, I know, but I'm very, very aware. I'm incredibly aware.
No, that's not what I'm.
It's fucking nuts. No. I'm incredibly aware that it's fucking nuts, and I'm pretty fucking crazy, and that's and I'm accepting of it. and I don't mind. You know, like it's and especially I believe in a lot of shit, and I believe that a lot of shit cannot be explained.
God damn it, Tennessee Murray.
You saw the exact same thing I did.
Yep. God damn you. I'm closer to Kedund in terms of belief than I am with your skeptic, because I'm a big believer in what if. In that question, because what if, I mean, it just opens up all the possibilities. What
For me,
if
when it
Loch Ness
comes
Monster
to
is true?
yeah, well, for me, when it comes to believing in, like, say, ghosts,
You mean like heat-seeking Pomeranians from the sky?
I can't believe that Lo-Fi actually worked that out. That still boggles my mind. It takes two of them. It takes two of them.
but when it comes to ghosts, it's not a thing that, like, oh, I believe what if ghosts. It's one of those things where, well, shit, some of the shit that I've gone through, that I've personally experienced, like, yeah. Like I slightly talked about it one night on a blend stream. You know, it was just one experience that I had had. Just one.
Well, see,
And
that's
it
the thing.
stuck with me in my head.
When we
Yeah.
get to the episode about ghosts,
And we will.
and we will, I'm with you, Gidant. I believe they're real. I've had experiences with ghosts.
As do I.
Fuck, we need Lo-Fi on that episode. She'll be the only skeptic.
She's got to be on that episode. But in terms of cryptids, there's a lot of possibilities out there for. I mean, the world is still huge. For as full as it is of humans, there are so many places they could hide that it could actually be there. And even if you spent your entire life just combing one mountain, you would still never see everything on that mountain, even if you spent your entire life, because there would always be something that was different from one day to the next. You know, it's kind of like, remember hearing this theory about how there's actually another planet exactly opposite of ours on the other side of the sun. We never pick up on it because it's on the other side all the time and we never see it. It could be the same way with anything, like, you know, a werewolf living on the same mountain that you are doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run across each other, or that you're not going to spend the rest of your life looking for it. So cryptids are such a possibility that you can't not say, yeah, I believe in the possibility of them. Especially since there have been enough things that have already been proven to be real, like the coelacanth. You know,
Coelacanth.
however it's pronounced. The big fish thing.
The big fish thing. Yes, I understand that. But we've already... Okay, so there have been very few things that have proven that were once cryptids to be found. Very
That's
few.
true.
Compared to the list of cryptids. So it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing that, you know, there was a woman who fell 30,000 feet out of an airplane. She got sucked out of the emergency door. No parachute. Fell in an open field. Walked away, and I do mean walked, with a broken shoulder and a sprained ankle. Are you gonna take that chance?
Of jumping out of a plane? No way in hell. That's a perfectly good
That's
plane.
what I'm saying. Just because we proved one thing can happen doesn't mean the others can happen as well.
You know, that's just part of the whole thing that angels exist.
And yet another topic for another show.
Oh, yeah. As you can tell, folks, we have a long list of things we're going to be bringing to you over the next several months, years, we've got a lot to cover.
And we haven't even
And-
touched on things like the Illuminati
That's going to be its own multi-part episode.
or
And-
the
and I
faking of
believe
the moon
most-
I'm sorry?
The
or
faking of the moon landing.
Yeah, there's another one that's going to take us a while to cover.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is like, so for our first episode, you know, I was supposed to play the skeptic role.
You completely abandoned that.
Well, yes, because I don't need to play your guys' roles. You're both more major skeptics than I am. Far more. I actually do believe in a lot of shit. You know, and besides, why not have at least one crazy person, you know, trying to be like, but guys, but wait, hold on. It's a thing. Like it's a thing. And so like there you go. You have one crazy person right here.
And we love you very much and are very grateful you're here with us.
The conspiracy of 9/11 being staged. There's
yeah.
the
God.
there's
That
the
one's gonna piss people off.
magic bullet.
Oh, the JFK thing?
Yep.
Yeah, the magic bullet theory.
Yep.
Yeah, Pastel is asking us to do government conspiracies sometime soon.
I can't. I hate government conspiracies.
Makes you paranoid.
No, it doesn't. It makes me believe people are stupid.
And paranoid.
I'm not paranoid about government
I didn't say you
conspiracies.
were paranoid. I said it proves that people are stupid and paranoid.
That's true.
But
Well, I think this is a great place to end it.
agreed.
So,
Kadant?
what do you think, Kadant?
What did I do?
You
So-
apparently walked away from the microphone.
Yes, sorry. I had to go do a thing real quick. I'm making food.
Well,
You're
is
hunting
it?
your own cryptid?
Yeah. Well, because Danny DeVito in a wig needs to keep up her giant healthy figure. If I'm gonna
Anyway,
keep looking like Jabba the Hutt, I'm gonna keep eating, yo.
you
You
don't
don't
look
look
like
like
Jabba
Jabba
the
the
Hutt,
Hutt.
and everybody who saw the picture on Twitter that you stood in solidarity with Zell knows you don't look like Jabba the Hutt.
That wasn't just because I stood in solidarity with the Zell. That was me getting ahead of a likely problem. Because if Zell's gonna be, you know, doxxed by a doxing douchebag, who only was able to get that picture because some dumb bitch once decides that it's totally okay to dox a whole group of her people, or of people that trusted her. She decided she wants to share such a picture and dox all those people without their fucking permission. Then fuck yeah, I'm gonna get ahead of the possible problem before I fucking, you know, have to worry about, oh shit, is this fucking doxing douchebag do machine going to dox me?
And that picture just goes to show that you are a sexy, sexy bitch.
Oh no. That was a picture of Danny DeVito in a wig. I have my
When the
actual
fuck did-
picture.
When the fuck did Danny DeVito become Asian?
Yeah, that's a good question.
He's always been Asian. He just, with the big
another-
glasses he uses, they just make his eyes look. They make him look like a round eye.
It's another conspiracy. We'll have to cover it another stream.
All right. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. My name, of course, is Antoine the Great, and I was joined by my lovely co-host, Danny DeVito in a wig, and Ishtar. This has been Qualms of the Curious. If you've ever felt like you have something looking over your shoulder, maybe next time just turn around and punch them in the face. You guys have a great evening.
Good night.
Don't punch him in the